నమస్తే వెల్కమ్ టు 9 టీవీ. హైదరాబాద్ లో మంత్రి కేటీఆర్ మాట్లాడుతున్నారు. లైవ్ లో చూద్దాం.
29%, 28.6 to be precise. Those of you who do not know, or those of you who possibly are not aware, since we are not yet fully out of the pandemic, let me share with you. I don't know how many of you know this. Telangana is home to 1/3 of global vaccine supply. We are the city where 1/3 of global vaccines are produced. I'm not talking India, I'm talking globe. Because even COVID vaccines that came from India, the 2 COVID vaccines that are indigenous have both come from Telangana. Serum Institute, of course, was manufacturing for AstraZeneca, so I don't count that as an indigenous vaccine. The 2 vaccines, Covaxin and Corbevax, both of them came from Hyderabad. To be precise, 9 billion doses of vaccine are produced per annum from Telangana. So that gives you a sense of what is going to happen. And recently, in fact, because of the Quad program, one of the large companies here called Biological Advance has signed up a deal, and they are expanding, which will take our vaccine production to almost 50% of the globe from one single state, and that is Telangana. Let me also give you another example about our strength in life sciences. The largest number of US FDA approved manufacturing facilities for any single province in the world are in Telangana. The second largest is in New Jersey in the United States. The largest number of US FDA approved manufacturing facilities in pharmaceutical production are in Telangana. More than 250 such units exist in Telangana. That makes us the pharmaceutical capital of India, the life sciences hub of India, and of course one of the most important life sciences nodes in the world as well. And we are, of course, growing it. I'll talk a bit about it later. We are also a powerhouse in aerospace and defense. I don't know again how many of you know this, but President Joe Biden's helicopter cabin is also made in Telangana. In fact, Sikorsky is the company which manufactures it. They manufacture in a joint venture with Tata Advanced Aerosystems Limited, and they manufacture it out of Telangana as well. And there's plenty of other things that are also going on. And I can even arrange for a tour so that you can get a look at some of the engines, the LEAP engines that are being manufactured, some of the world-class fighter jet empennages that are manufactured, some of the fuselage that is manufactured for helicopters such as Apache, all made in Telangana, all coming out of the city of Hyderabad. We are also a very, very strong player in electronics and IT. I'll talk about IT in a bit. Electronics as well. Today, 25% of the television sets that are produced in India come from Telangana. We have a very strong presence in electronics, but of course our ambition is larger. We want to be the Shenzhen of India. We want to ensure that Hyderabad becomes the hub for electronics in India, and we are making a lot of efforts in that direction. My director, Semiconductors and Electronics, is also here. He will be more than happy to share more details with you. Of course, we talked a bit about all the revolutions that are sweeping, as a result of agricultural expansion, which naturally, consequentially, lands in food processing and processed food production. Telangana, in fact, is the only state in India which has taken upon itself to set up what is called as Special Food Processing Zones of the state of Telangana, TSSFZ. Now, these special food processing zones are spread across different districts, spread across 10,000 acres of land, and are readily available for anybody who would want to come and invest in my state. The services sector, of course, has also been growing. I'll talk about it in a bit. Why did agriculture expand? I would say because of the initiatives of the government in terms of investments into irrigation, in terms of investments into welfare schemes such as Raitu Bandhu, which is a direct benefit transfer into farm input to the millions of farmers, ensuring the farmers, one of its kind in the world. The state directly insures every single farmer to the tune of almost 5 lakh rupees in case of a natural death as well. And of course, because of a very strong food processing policy, the sector has been growing. I can go on, but I think we'll move on. Next slide, please. We are, in fact, a powerhouse in information technology. We are home to more than 1,500 plus multinational companies. Just to give you a sense of what it is that I'm talking about, if you look at the brand names there, Google, Apple, Amazon, Microsoft, and Meta, all of their second largest campuses in the world, anywhere in the world, outside of their headquarters, are here in the city of Hyderabad. In fact, let me share with you, Amazon's world's largest campus is not in Seattle, it is in Hyderabad. And all of this has happened over the period of last 8 years. Except Microsoft, which set shop in 2001, the rest of the companies that you see here, all of them have come in the last 8 years. Not only these, Uber, Salesforce, Micron, Qualcomm, ServiceNow, Novartis, all of these companies, their second largest base in the world is in my city, Hyderabad. In case you're thinking, are these BPO, KPO kind of operations? No. Some of the most cutting edge work in maps, in AR, VR, AI, ML happens outside of Hyderabad. In fact, I'm sure all of you use Google Maps. Google Maps are actually developed in Hyderabad. So just to give you a sense of what's going on, the number of jobs that were created in the information technology industry last year in India, altogether in India, the country, was about 455,000, out of which my city, Hyderabad alone, had 150,000 plus. So more than 1/3 of the jobs that were created in the IT sector last year in the middle of the pandemic were in Hyderabad, not in Bangalore. Bangalore was at 148,000. So we have been able to also give Bangalore a run for its money over the last few years. Of course, we have a lot of catching up to do, but we are on the right track is what I would like to believe. As I was saying, we are the nucleus of life sciences. We are a pioneer in aerospace and defense, and we are also an extremely important hub in electronics and semiconductors. So why Telangana? Why should anybody look at us? When I said innovation, infrastructure, and inclusive growth, that is not mere lip service. We take our words very seriously. We have innovated not just in terms of creating an infrastructure like T-Hub, which is the world's largest technology incubator. We've also innovated in our policy making. That's why Telangana today, because of a new legislation called as the TS iPass, which stands for the Telangana State Industrial Project Approval Self-Certification System. Like the Easy Pass in the US, which you navigate through easily. We have created a similar facility here, and we have conferred upon the investor, the prospective investor, a right to self-certify themselves. You may have heard of right to information. You may have also heard of right to education. But in Telangana, we have conferred upon the investors a right to self-certify themselves. Now, what do I mean? What I mean is, if you are an investor, a foreign or Indian, doesn't matter, you have a piece of land and you want to start construction. You actually do not need any clearance from government of Telangana. You don't need a permission from the municipality. You don't need a permission from the Gram Panchayat. No permission needed. And this is backed by legislation. You can hit the ground running. You can start construction of your factory on day one. Only for regulatory purposes, we request that you submit an application online on the TSI Pass portal, because we need to know who's doing business in my state. We need to know what kind of employment is being generated, what kind of taxes we are likely to accrue, and what kind of sector you're investing in. Once we receive your application in the TSI Pass portal, my efficient team will ensure that irrespective of how many departments have to clear your proposal, it could be 30, it could be 35 sometimes, all clearances by statute, by legislation, will be conferred within 15 days. You can say that, okay, I've heard this before. You can of course say with a bit of cynicism, I've heard this before. Every state I go to, they give me the same thing. How are you different? We are different because if we don't deliver on the 15-day window, on the 16th day, it's a deemed approval. It's an approval by default backed by legislation. Even the government cannot contest it. And from 16th day, let me also tell you, my most efficient principal secretary, Jayesh Ranjan, my special secretary, Vishnuvardhan Reddy, two top-notch bureaucrats, even they are not exempt from a penalty of rupees 1,000 per day if they are held responsible for holding up a clearance. Of course, Jayesh and Vishnu have not yet been penalized because they are super efficient. In case you're wondering, well, this sounds too good to be true, does it actually work in reality? In the last 7.5 years, since we passed this legislation in 2014 on the 5th of November, we have given more than 20,000 clearances. We have been able to raise more than 2.4 crore investment, lakh crore investment, which roughly translates to, I think, what is the dollar value now? 80 rupees, is it? So I think it would roughly translate to about $30 billion. And we've created a direct job potential of more than 1.6 million jobs. That's why we are ranked right on the top on the ease of doing business rankings given by Government of India. We have consistently been in the top 3. We missed by a whisker last time, otherwise we would have been on number 1. And let me also add the one thing that's important. I know that in today's world, the competition to attract investment is not among Indian states alone. When an investor is looking at making an investment, he's mulling options, he's weighing options, he's looking at various geographies. Sometimes the competition is between Malaysia, Indonesia, Vietnam, and India. Sometimes it could be Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, India. It could be something else, other geographies. So therefore, we have a very unique policy in Telangana, where if you, as a prospective investor, is willing to share with me what my competition has offered to you in terms of fiscal incentives, we will either meet or beat that offer. And this is again backed by legislation, this is backed by the statute, which makes it extremely attractive for anybody to start looking at. Next slide, please. So these are all the entities that we have created over the last 8 years. T-Hub, where we are sitting, is in fact the largest technology incubator in the world. And what do I mean, technology incubator? Say for instance, yesterday, I'll not name names, but a large American company, a large sports and apparel manufacturer, they had met me yesterday. They asked me, they said, if I want to run an innovation challenge, because I'm new to India, I have an office in Bangalore, but I'm new to India, the various other geographies in India. So can you help me find some good startups? What T-Hub can do for you is run a corporate innovation program where we will invite startups from all over India. They will look at your pain points or problems with a fresh set of eyes, with an objective outsider view, and will come out with some truly global, truly world-class solutions. Because young Indians are bright. Young India has an aspirational value that is truly global in nature. That is what we want to do through T-Hub, create a platform for young India to come, innovate, and to offer solutions to the rest of the world as well. We've also created what is called as the Telangana State Innovation Cell, TSIC. What is it? TSIC is basically ensuring that the inclusive growth piece that I talked about, the T-Hub in Hyderabad should not be the only focus, because the urban